Good morning and welcome to another fresh edition of Inside Nigeria, a breakfast show on leadership television. My name is Winifred Kugbebo, your host on the program. Today is December 4th, 2024, and of course, it's the midweek edition of the show. Today's program, we are only going to be looking at front headline stories of some select newspapers, including Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Let's say Leadership leading stories today. Leadership says reps in shouting match over tax bills. It's still a developing story on tax reform bills just before the National Assembly. Of course, controversies has continued to trade that bill, the tax reform bills in the National Assembly, with some section of Nigerians saying no to the bill, while some section saying yes to the bill. So leadership leading story is still on the tax reform bills, and so also are the papers in our menu this morning. Reps in shouting match over tax bills. Northern Coalition Shegumi differ on reforms. Alphabeta denies involvement. Tinubu directs Justice Ministry NAS to work on concerns. We have the picture of President Bola Tinubu with his South African counterpart Cyril Ramaphosa at the two-use Cape Town for the 11th session of Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission in South Africa yesterday, photo from State House. Just beside that leading story, leadership editor loses father. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Government kill 9 adult many in Sokoto. ICPC intercepts $300,000 ICT student funds. ICPC intercepts $300,000 ICT student funds. South Korea president declares emergency martial law, and we move towards the masthead of leadership. Nigerians can get South African visas without passports. That is Ramaphosa, the South African president. Nigerians can get South African visas without passports, coming from Ramaphosa, the South African president. And on the business boss of leadership, despite export ban, cooking gas prices surged by 45.8%. Despite export ban, cooking gas prices surged by 45.8%. The price of liquefied petroleum gas (LPG), popularly known as cooking gas, has surged by no less than 45.8% in many parts of the country, despite the federal government's restriction on the export of the commodity. The persistent rise in the price of cooking gas is putting further financial strain on households whose incomes are already heavily burdened by high inflationary pressure. These are paragraphs from that story. Despite export ban, cooking gas prices surged by 45.8%. That takes us to the stories about the masthead of leadership. Senate confirms Oluyede as Chief of Army Staff. Wike declares commitment to fulfilling Tinubu's promises. And with that, we move to the page 3 of the paper where we have our stand. Today's stand is on Tinubu's state visit to France. Tinubu state visit to France. From the stand today, we move to the back page where we have Wednesday column with Olufunke Barua. Olufunke is writing on Humanity Index using data and evidence to address gender-based violence, GBV. Humanity Index using data and evidence to address GBV, that is gender-based violence. In quote, data and evidence-driven solutions to GBV like Humanity Index have transformative impacts at individual, community, and systemic levels. These impacts are seen in prevention, response, and the overall reduction of GBV. Quote from the back page, Wednesday column with Olufunke Barua, Humanity Index using data and evidence to address GBV. And with that, we come to a close review of front headline stories, inside stories, and back page today of Leadership newspaper. For more, log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is Vanguard, still on tax reform bills. It says KUKA, CITN, NECA, Pegasan suggest way forward. Leading story on Vanguard today, this Wednesday, December 4, 2024. Move should end a least financial recklessness cooker. Is a necessary step, needs more data integration, CITN. Reforms will have far-reaching positive consequences, NECA. Some provisions may affect oil and gas industry, Pegasan. Production is tool for economic growth, not tax, Senate Committee. Governor softens stance. Reps in rowdy session over comment on reform. Don't inject ethnic regional slurs in national conversation, federal government warns. These are riders to that leading story on tax reform bills. KUKA, CITN, NECA, Pegasan suggests way forward. Just like leadership, we also have the same picture on the cover of Vanguard today. President Bola Tinubu with that of his South African counterpart, Cyril Ramaphosa, in Cape Town yesterday. Underneath that, we have how Nigeria can turn natural resources from cost to blessing. Khan Sultan SGF. Simon Ekpa must answer for his atrocities, but release Nnamdi Kanu, Southeast resident. Don't expect drop in petrol price, Pegasan. And in sports, Osimhen turns down Man United January move. Government adopts ex-reps member key police escort in Nasarawa. 100 faith leaders demand return of Leah Sharibu, 87 Chibok girls. Above the masthead of Vanguard, cooking gas average price of 12.5 kg rises 56% according to investigation. Is also on the business boss of Leadership newspaper today. Cooking gas average price of 12.5 kg rises 56% according to investigation carried out by Vanguard. Obi Falana condemned arrest of activist Farotimi. NCDMB achieves 56% local content in Nigeria's oil and gas industry. BNC, South Africa relaxes visa rules for Nigerian tourists, business people. And the story runs on page 8 of Vanguard. Same story we also have on leadership, where the president says Nigerians can get South African visas without passports. With that, we also conclude review of front headline stories on Vanguard newspaper this Wednesday. For more, log on to the website of Vanguard as we move to the next paper on our menu, and that is the Punch. Still on tax reform bills. Tinubu orders review as protests persist in National Assembly. Leading story on the Punch newspaper this Wednesday. Tax reform. Tinubu orders review as protests persist in National Assembly. Rowdy session in House. Pro-Tinubu Northern Youth protest at National Assembly. Arewa Group rejects bills. Rider to that leading story on the Punch. Tax reform. Tinubu orders review as protests persist in National Assembly. Rowdy session in House. Pro-Tinubu Northern Youth protest at National Assembly. Arewa Group rejects bills. And the NLC slams Winfuru as Akwa Ibom joins strike. Cardinal withdraws. Air passengers lost 19,274 luggage in 6 months. Federal government. Akpabio Kuka warned against religious killings. Gome abduct ex Nasarawa rep key police oddly. Reps order suspension of CBN mass retirement. 50 billion naira payoff. Beside the masthead of the Punch, import duty, court cases hot, grounding of 60 private jets. And above the masthead of the Punch, Emefiele cronies acquired 753 duplex estates with forest kickbacks. EFCC. Emefiele cronies acquired 753 duplex estates with forest kickbacks. Coming from EFCC, of course, it was trending yesterday that the EFCC got the largest conviction by forfeiture of 753 duplex estates in Abuja. And of course, the name was actually withheld. However, today's story has the name of the owner of that 753 duplex estate as Emefiele. It says Emefiele cronies acquired 753 duplex estates with forest kickbacks, coming from EFCC. Beside that, 80 billion naira fraud, court orders former AMCOM's MD's arrests. That also concludes review of front headline stories on the Punch newspaper. For more, log on to the website of the Punch as we move to the next paper on our lineup, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun's leading story still on tax reforms bill says federal government bows to pressure, approves modification, laments misinformation about bill. Oprah in the House of Reps, Senate vows to consult widely. Obi calls for transparency, citizens' inputs. Alphabeta denies involvement. Beneath that leading story, Reps direct CBN to suspend retirement of 1,000 staff. Police impound 296 vehicles over tinted glass, number plate offences in FCT. How NDDC will spend 1 trillion naira in Niger Delta, Ogbuku. Malaria vaccine arrives Nigeria, Kebbi, Bayelsa takes center stage. And towards the masthead of Daily Sun, fish out, punish terror sponsors, can't sort out federal government. Say years of terrorist activities have made life unbearable. Beside the masthead of Daily Sun, Senate approves 2025 to 2027 MTEF/FSP, demands fuel price reduction, confirms appointment of Oluyede as substantive COAS. With that, also, we bring to a close the review of front headline stories on Daily Sun this Wednesday. For more, log on to the website www.thesun.ng. From Daily Sun, we move to the last paper we have on our menu this Wednesday, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian has different story altogether as its main headline story. However, we still have the story of the tax reform bill as on the cover, as one of its cover stories. Compressed natural gas scheme, infrastructure deficit slows CNG adoption amid $450 million investment. Compressed natural gas scheme, infrastructure deficit slows CNG adoption amid $450 million investment. Number of CNG kits distributed 150,000. Number of conversion centers 150. Number of vehicles converted 50,000 plus. CNG investments $450 million. We have number of CNG stations / refueling sites nationwide 58. States with CNG dispensing sites 23. CNG manufacturing hub, we have just 3. These are illustrations beneath that headline story. Compressed natural gas scheme, infrastructure deficit slows CNG adoption amid $450 million investment. Senate approves MTEF/FSP probes NNPCL over 8.4 trillion naira subsidy. Federal poly with 142 students, 154 staff incurs 638 million naira overhead cost. Court orders AMCOM MD's arrest over alleged 76 billion naira fraud. Court orders AMCOM's MD's arrest over alleged 76 billion naira fraud. Sell 51% stake in refineries to IOCs, that is international oil companies. Pegasan advises government. Tax reform bills, chaos in reps, Gumi Kuka back proposal as Patami orders cake. Why Nigeria, South Africa must lead continent's transformation by Tinubu. Owners of Abuja duplexes unknown, says EFCC. Shallow graves discovered as security dislodge IPOB ESN camps in Imo. With that, we bring to a close the review of front headline stories on The Guardian this Wednesday. For more, log on to the website www.guardian.ng. As is where we call to an end today's program Inside Nigerian Leadership Television. For more, don't forget to join the website for continuation of those headline stories. My name is Winifred Webo. Don't forget to join us same time, same station for another fresh edition of the program tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the